Good evening. It's Monday, December the 13th. Here's a look at some of the biggest stories we're following so far.
And we begin tonight with thousands of Georgians who could soon be forced to find a new doctor, a local hospital system, and insurance provider at odds over your coverage. And time is running out with a year-end deadline looming. Our Rachel Polanski has the latest.
This is just one of those Northside Hospital locations that will be impacted if these negotiations don't go through. Now, I talked with the mother of a sick child, and she has to go to the hospital fairly regularly. And she says if they cannot come to an agreement and quick, she'll have to, 1, drive a lot further for care, or 2, pay a lot bigger out-of-pocket expenses. Behind all of this is a little kid with a really big heart.
I'm proud of him.
And a supportive mom.
He's come so far.
We know the story of this guy's heart.
What's the Grinch?
2 sizes too small. Mason's heart, it's a little bit different.
HLHS, as we call it. When you're born with half a heart.
He was born with a congenital heart defect called hyperplastic left heart syndrome.
So he had to have a series of heart surgeries.
The 10-year-old relies on the doctors at Northside Forsyth. That's why his mom, Tanya, was outraged when she found out her insurance company and hospital couldn't see eye to eye.
They told me that as of December 31st, that they would be out of network and they would no longer be taking the insurance.
And the Langs are part of 400,000 Georgians who will have to find new providers if Northside Hospital Systems and Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield do not come to an agreement by the end of the month. Now comes the finger pointing. As Northside tells CBS 46 investigates, this decision surprised us. Our agreements with Anthem were not up for renewal and were not set to expire. Meanwhile, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield said Northside is one of the most expensive systems in Georgia, and the current contract does not adequately align incentives to improve quality and affordability for our members.
We've yet to see costs go down for consumers when hospitals merge. What happens when there's less competition? Always happens.
Members. Liz Coyle, who heads consumer advocacy agency Georgia Watch, says we're seeing contract disagreements like this all over the country, and she blames it on 2 things. 1, consolidation of the marketplace. That's when we see mergers involving 2 major companies that provide similar services. And 2, inadequate network standards. That's when your insurance plan does not give you enough access to providers in your area. Coyle goes as far as saying that just like surprise billing, this is the new issue in the healthcare debate. And the only way to fix it is the same way we fix that, through legislation.
Something like that needs to happen in this case. That disagreement should not leave 400,000 people without access to their trusted provider or needing to travel a long distance to get a network care.
Care that for those like Mason Lang can mean life or death.
To think that you're throwing people's lives up in the air over dollars, it just infuriates me to no end.
And now hundreds of thousands of patients like Tanya and Mason are waiting. And Sean and Rick, that agreement, that deadline is coming up. It is December 31st.
And Rachel, is there any hope, though, that Northside and Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield will meet that deadline?
Now it's possible. I was doing some research, and in Oklahoma, Blue Cross Blue Shield and a health system there did reach an agreement in the 11th hour, so we will be watching that, and of course we will bring updates as we learn them. Reporting live tonight, I'm Rachel Polanski, CBS 46 News.
Rachel, thank you. And if there's something you would like our team to investigate, email us at investigates@cbs46.com.
Devastating images tonight. Tornadoes just laying waste to towns across the Midwest. Recovery efforts well underway after twisters hit multiple states, killing dozens of people, and Kentucky was hit the hardest. In the town of Mayfield, twisted sheet metal, downed power lines, wrecked cars just line the streets, and windows are blown out, roofs torn off of buildings.
It's just upsetting, to know that that's the town that you grew up in and everything, his memories is all gone.
You look around and you have so many people saying, how can we help? But it's almost like, where do you begin?
Across Kentucky, tens of thousands of people are without power. Mayfield officials are warning residents who did not lose their homes that they could be without heat, water, and electricity for a long time. Kentucky, one of 6 states now dealing with destruction. Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Tennessee are also in cleanup mode this Monday. Many of those states are also reporting deaths from the storm. And one of the tornadoes was on the ground for an estimated 227 miles. And that, if true, would be longer than any other twister ever recorded in the U.S.
Tonight, volunteers from the Metro now deployed across the disaster area to help with those recovery efforts. CBS 46's Adam Murphy live at the Red Cross. And Adam, you've been talking to volunteers.
Well, good evening, Sean. The Red Cross wasted little time sending volunteers to those troubled areas to provide much needed shelter and critical supplies. It's go time for Red Cross volunteer Ann Berkeley. She's headed to Kentucky to lend a hand to those impacted by the devastating tornadoes.
I have a good life and I can help, and so you should help. That's what Americans do. We help each other.
The Red Cross said they are prepared to provide support in the area for weeks to come. Already, they have provided approximately 200 additional blood products to hospitals and opened at least 8 emergency shelters in Kentucky, providing safe refuge to about 190 people.
I have crisis training and, counseling training to be able to support people and help them find their inner strength and resiliency.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency, also known as FEMA, is also providing crucial help to the disaster zone.
It was horrific. I woke up and saw it on the news, and I was ready to come in and really support those survivors.
Janet Goldson is the Deputy Facility Manager for the FEMA Distribution Center in Atlanta. She said at any given time, they have 270 trailers loaded with supplies and ready to go.
We shipped out 54 trailer loads of the different commodities: blankets, cots, tarp, generators.
And Atlanta-based Home Depot is also assessing the impact and providing relief supplies and volunteers where most needed. Berkeley says it's the least our community can do.
Having done the local stuff, it enables you to have a better grasp and capability to handle that overwhelming on those major disasters like this with so many fatalities.
And back here at the Red Cross in Atlanta, it's important to point out they are not accepting food or clothing donations. They cannot send those items out. But the best thing you can do if you do want to help is provide financial assistance. And you can do that by going to redcross.org, or we have all the details on our website at cbs46.com. We're live at the Red Cross in Atlanta tonight. Adam Murphy, CBS 46 News.
Thank you, Adam. CBS 46 teaming up with the Salvation Army to heal the heartland. What you can do is text HL Tornado to 51555 to help support relief efforts, and any money donated goes directly to relief operations.
Details tonight, a family pleading for answers. They want anyone with information about a Morehouse College student's death to come forward. 25-year-old Tyrone Holmes was shot in an off-campus apartment last month.
Holmes was just weeks away from graduating. CBS 46's Yasmina Austin talked to his sister today.
It has been hard because, it's around the holidays. We just had Thanksgiving.
For the family of Tyrone Holmes, this holiday season is not the same. The 25-year-old was shot and killed in November at his home on Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard in Southwest Atlanta.
He was full of life, like literally full of life. He was so funny. Very heartfelt. He was very genuine.
Holmes was a student at Morehouse College.
He wanted to be a Morehouse man.
His sister Courtney says his education and goals were so important to him. Holmes was a senior psychology major. According to an email from Morehouse College, Holmes was a Ronald McNair Scholar as well as a Gates Millennium Scholar.
It was one of the things that made me very happy because that was something that he was really, really working towards. Very hard towards.
But whoever killed Holmes on November 3rd still hasn't been found. Now his family is pushing to find out who did it. They've started a GoFundMe in hopes of adding to the current Crime Stoppers reward. Last week, Atlanta police released video of persons of interest in the shooting.
Actually, I don't feel like no one actually gets closure for someone that dies that close to them. But it's just a little bit of peace to know that the person that did it or the people that did it, get their justice.
And I did reach out to Atlanta police to see where the case stands. They tell me it is still under investigation. If you have any information, you are asked to call Crime Stoppers. In Atlanta, Yasmina Alston, CBS 46 News.
A crime alert tonight. An East Point man is dead after confronting criminals who were breaking into his car. This video shows at least 2 men breaking into cars near Winburn Drive early Friday morning. Police believe they shot Knox Panter moments after the footage was taken. Investigators say that Panter had just walked out of his home. He saw his car being broken into. That's when the shots were fired.
Been through cancer when he was 4, had lost an eye. He lost his mom to cancer when he was a teenager, and he was always there trying to help take care of his sisters and his brother.
The suspects drove off in a dark 4-door sedan. Panter died at a hospital. If you have any information, call East Point Police.
Tonight, police trying to figure out who shot 2 people at an apartment complex in Cobb County. Officers found the victims at the Mableton Ridge apartments around 1 this morning. We're told one of them died on the scene, the other now being treated at a hospital. And so far, Cobb County police have not released any details on possible suspects or a motive.
A director has officially been appointed to lead Atlanta's new Office of Violence Reduction. Jaquel Clemens Moore was just named director. The office will be tasked with developing plans and programs to reduce and prevent violence. Previously, Moore was the director of a youth violence intervention program in New York.
A promising update tonight on a dog that was set on fire in Decatur. The shelter caring for the Labradoodle, they've named him Will, says his eyes and nose are looking much better, but the rest of his body has quite a ways to go. The dog was engulfed in flames last week when he was spotted in Decatur. There is a $7,000 reward being offered in the case.
The fate of a decades-old restaurant is now in the hands of a metro Atlanta city. Aunt Fanny's Cabin near downtown Smyrna was a Southern staple, often visited by celebrities, but it also profited using racial stereotypes. You see the illustrations there. City council members will soon decide whether to preserve, rebuild, or demolish the now vacant building.
A city-appointed task force meeting today to come up with their recommendation. CBS 46's Haley Mason live in Smyrna tonight with more on this controversy. Haley.
Sean, and we just have new developments late this afternoon. This task force in Smyrna has decided that they don't believe this old Aunt Fanny's Cabin restaurant is worth preserving. They plan to recommend that the city council move to demolish this building and find a way to honor the woman it was named after.
Is this the appropriate use on city land?
The old Aunt Fanny's Cabin restaurant in Smyrna is in disrepair and considered by the city to be unsafe. In April, Smyrna's chief building officer drafted this memo stating the building needs to be either demolished or restored.
The options before us are...
This task force was formed and announced today it will recommend demolition to the city council. Restoration would cost the city more than an estimated $500,000. Demolition would cost around $400,000. Their decisions rooted not only in finances but ethics. They want to remove the building that many consider a symbol of a racist past, which operated as an ode to the antebellum South.
This was a placemat that was used there.
Lewis Wheaton is the only black council member in Smyrna. He brought this image of an old placemat from the restaurant. He says it depicts the manner in which real-life black male servers were asked to sing songs of the Confederacy and dance on the restaurant's tables.
It's heartbreaking to me to think about this facility that had young boys the ages of my own sons, dancing on tables with boards around their neck, selling fried chicken and collard greens.
The old restaurant was named after Fannie Williams, who once worked for the family that owned the place. She also participated in activism efforts for the black community. The board, though, mostly agreeing the restaurant did not honor her, but upheld racially offensive stereotypes.
For it to be this memorial to the way things were at that era, and then certainly the theme of the restaurant, I think by and large was offensive to most folks today.
Councilmember Travis Lindley, the only Smyrna native, tells us he remembers the restaurant in the 80s.
By no means, I hope, is a reflection on our community.
He too voted to destroy the building and find a way to fully honor Williams.
Now, this task force here was comprised of 2 council members, some community members, and a historian. They will be presenting their recommendation to the Smyrna City Council later this week, and council will decide on a final vote early next year. Reporting live in the city of Smyrna, Haley Mason, CBS 46 News.
Thanks for watching CBS 46 News. Watch us live wherever you are, our mobile and our streaming news app. You can also watch us on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.